Chicago State University, where I graduated, has attested to that. Now I can announce that I've received my original replacement degree certificate from them.
He deceived us. This incident took place at Chatham House in London before the election. Pay close attention to how he manipulatively used the word attest to imply that he attended the university. However, according to the oral deposition from Chicago State University in court, mistakenly assumed he was the same Bola A. Tinubu admitted in the 70s due to the shared name. This is a glaring display of incompetence on the part of the school. Moreover, he seems to be involved in potential identity theft. A similar situation occurred in Nigeria, but I'll get to that shortly. Another falsehood he propagated during the Chatham House interview was claiming he received a duplicate certificate from Chicago State University. This is a blatant lie because, as per their deposition, they never received a request for a duplicate certificate from him, nor did they send any certificate to him. The certificate he submitted to INEC was not provided by the university. He fabricated it himself, which essentially means he forged it. Now, let's examine their new narrative. During an interview on AIT television, what's astonishing is that they are no longer denying the forgery, but rather arguing that it may be legally forgery. It's essential to note that forging a certificate is still a crime both in Nigeria and the United States. One cannot simply forge their certificate. It's an impossibility. To obtain a replacement certificate, one must formally request it from their school. Even Chicago State University has a form on its website for this purpose, which costs only $26. All you need to do is complete the form with the required information and you'll receive a replacement. Why didn't he follow this procedure? Likely because he doesn't have access to the necessary information due to his forfeiture of $460,000 to the US government for narcotics proceeds. He's avoiding breaking the law again in the United States, where they take law and order seriously. Despite the journalist's apparent shock at his statements, she failed to correct him on national television. How did she allow him to make such a claim that one can forge their certificate? Perhaps she was unaware, but this is a serious miscommunication to the public. They have transitioned from asserting that he received the certificate from the university, which the school refuted, to claiming that he printed it himself. However, it's crucial to stay focused on what he originally said at Chatham House. He never mentioned getting it from a third party. He claimed the university gave it to him. He cannot go back in time and alter that statement. The fact that he lied about receiving the certificate from the university strongly suggests that he forged it, and this should be sufficient evidence for the Supreme Court. It's a pity that we no longer have fearless journalists like those of the 80s and 90s who challenged the military government. Today the situation has changed. Journalists are cozying up to politicians and allowing them to spread falsehoods without fact-checking or challenging them. To understand what happened to many Nigerian journalists, one needs to look at Nigeria itself, where psychological and financial poverty have taken their toll. This is the ultimate way African leaders control their population. After impoverishing their people, they offer them a few handouts and the people become compliant. This underscores the importance of supporting independent media. Support doesn't necessarily mean donating money. It can also involve watching their content. Independent media is committed to fact-checking and providing accurate information, which is essential for building a better nation in Nigeria and across Africa. Consider the situation in the North, where media houses claim that Chicago State University vindicated him, despite the university openly denying the certificate submitted to INEC. This is a clear case of deliberate mass misinformation. The government influences government-owned media. Even privately owned outlets may be swayed through partial ownership, substantial donations, or political connections. However, some stations like Arise TV, Sahara Reporters, and Channels TV are still addressing the issue, while many others are unwilling to speak the truth. It's worth noting that he admitted that releasing these documents would cause him irreparable harm. Now let's address a critical question. If you submit a certificate that bears the name of the University of Nigeria, Only the University of Nigeria is authorized to issue that certificate. If they confirm they didn't issue it, the case is closed. There's no way around it. The Supreme Court should disqualify him, as even Keyamo concurs. In 2019, Keyamo tweeted that presenting a forged or WAEC certificate should result in disqualification, which is precisely what has occurred here. Regardless of any twisting or changing narratives, the fact remains that he forged the certificate, and that's undeniable. The Constitution is explicit about who can be president of Nigeria, and someone with such character should not hold the highest office in the land. As the saying goes, if the head of the fish is rotten, the rest of the body will follow suit. People should keep speaking out and not allow anyone to manipulate the narrative. The persistence of people like David Hundeyin, who investigated this matter, is essential for those who need help understanding the implications of having Tinubu as the Nigerian president. Look at what happened recently at the UN General Assembly. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's people could not arrange a one-on-one sit-down conversation with the US president. And when people raised the concern, you know what the Nigeria's ruling party, the All Progressives Congress, APC, said? The spokesperson, Felix Morka, said the two leaders had earlier met at the G20 Nation Summit in India and did not see any reason to meet again on the sideline of the UN General Assembly in New York. Is that a convincing reason? I guess they forgot that Nigeria has the largest city by population with the largest economy in Africa. Young, vibrant minds that all world leaders love to associate with and show their support publicly, even though their country's interest is what's most important to them. Why is this not the case this time around? No sensible leader from a developed country would want to associate publicly with Tinubu or risk tarnishing their reputation due to his ongoing scandal. The All Progressive Congress, APC, and their supporters are trying to change the narrative before our eyes. Those who initially claimed to have received everything from the university now suggest they obtained it from a third party, essentially admitting to forging it. Please don't allow them to alter the narrative. This unfolding situation is an attempt to rewrite history after the elections. Some argue that if Nigerians hadn't been brainwashed and made to endure unnecessary hardships, Tinubu would never have had a chance to run alongside other presidential candidates who demonstrated transparency, accountability, and competence, such as Omoyele Sowore and Peter Obi. These candidates focused on their qualification and what they could offer, not their origin, religion, or tribe. Unlike Tinubu, who claimed Emilokan, a Yoruba phrase meaning, "it is my turn." We must remember that one person's ambition, no matter how grand, should never override the Nigerian people's dreams, aspirations, and desires. As Chinua Achebe wrote in Things Fall Apart in 1958, "Until the lion learns how to write, every story will glorify the hunter." Therefore, please do not allow anyone to write part of your story for you by telling an inaccurate story because, in essence, their story is part of yours. As we witness the attempt to change the narrative right before our eyes, and even highly educated individuals are being used to push this agenda, we must refuse to let anyone alter the narrative. Always stand firm and present the story as it truly is. This is why supporting independent media is so crucial. Remember to like, share, subscribe if you've not, and follow us for more videos like this.